I'm turning the Odyssey into a card game, and in this video, I want to give a more thorough breakdown of the rules and mechanics of my game, starting with, what exactly is it? My game is a two-player TCG based around the Greek epic, the Odyssey, wherein which you play as the fate of Odysseus, moving Odysseus across this map trying to get home to Ithaca, while stopping your opponent from doing the same. To do so, you'll play cards from hand that push your Odysseus forward, while also playing cards that'll move your opponent's Odysseus backwards. Whoever gets to Ithaca first is the winner. This creates a strategic tug-of-war kind of gameplay where you balance your own progression while also stopping your opponent's. Now, with introductions out of the way, let's dive directly into cards. There are three card types present in my game: Wrath cards, Crew cards, and, as was sparked by Ryan Mania on TikTok, Divine Intervention cards. First, Wrath cards. These act as your means to prevent your opponent's progress, and for example, they might push your opponent's Odysseus back a space, such as Polyphemus Toss says here, move your opponent's Odysseus back one space. Or they may discard an opponent's crew card, such as Betrayal here, which is discard all opponent's crew cards. Or they might have additional fun effects, such as Charybdis here, which not only pushes your opponent's Odysseus back one space, but it also shuffles a card from their hand into their deck. Do note that when you play a Wrath card, your turn ends. That's it. You can perform no other actions. It is the last thing you are allowed to do on a turn. With Wrath cards explained, let's go ahead and jump into the next card type. Crew cards. These can be played out in front of you and act as a line of defense. By that I mean they can be sacrificed in order to negate movement backwards on the map. Let's say, for example, my opponent plays Polyphemus Toss to move me back one space, but maybe I like the space I'm at and don't want to move, so instead I could take one of my crew cards, discard it, and completely negate that movement. However, now I'm more vulnerable seeing as I have one less crew card, and you can only have 3 out in front of you at a time, so you need to be careful when you sacrifice. Additionally, crew cards themselves can have fun abilities, such as Polites that says when played, search your deck for a crew card and play it with this one, or Eurylochus, which lets you search your deck for a Wrath card. The final card type, known as Divine Intervention, acts as any other guiding force on Odysseus' journey home. These may be cards that move you forward on the map, such as Full Speed Ahead here, which says move your Odysseus one space forward. Or they might be cards like Polyphemus that lets you search your deck for specific cards. Or they might have other fun effects that we'll discuss in the future in more videos. With cards and their types explained, let's dive further into the map and movement itself. When looking at the map, you'll notice the writing on each individual space. These are abilities that affect the way in which your turn starts. For example, let's say you're beginning the game and you're at the city of Troy. It says draw 4 cards. So at the beginning of your turn, you would draw 4 cards. But let's say you're at Scheria at almost the end of the map. It says discard a card from hand, then draw 1 card. As you progress, the abilities slowly get worse, giving your opponent more chances to catch up if they're further behind, creating a balancing kind of functionality. And of course, movement happens when you play a card telling you to move, and you move yourself forward or backwards based off what it says. This final mechanic is one that I haven't talked about anywhere else except for this video, and that is the Suffering track. Suffering is basically this game's form of mana, similar to Magic the Gathering's lands or Pokemon's energies. It is the card cost system of the Odyssey card game. Some of you may have noticed the numbers in the top right corner of some of these cards, such as Lotus Flowers +2 or Penelope's +4, and that is the Suffering mechanic. That is the cost for the cards. For example, let's say I play the Penelope card. It says +4, so I would move 1, 2, 3, 4 up on the Suffering track to 17. Now, some of you are probably wondering, why is it going higher? Wouldn't higher be better? No. If you reach 20 Suffering, it's too much for your Odysseus to handle, and you automatically lose the game, no matter where you're at on the map. Which means, as you're playing cards, you need to be careful of how much your Odysseus is suffering throughout the journey, because if it's too much, he'll lose. However, there is a way to gain that suffering back by playing Wrath cards. You'll notice that instead of plus, Polyphemus' Toss here says minus, so you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, giving you more points to play cards on your next turn. This is essentially watching your opponent suffer, and so in doing so, you suffer less. However, not all Wrath cards are equal. Polyphemus Toss is a pretty weak Wrath card, only moving your opponent's Odysseus back one space. Betrayal, however, discarding all your opponent's true cards, is much stronger, and so it only gives you 1/2 back. This can create situations where weaker Wrath cards might be better in the long run, because then you're able to perform more actions on your next turn. With all mechanics and basic rules of the game explained, let's do an example turn to see if it all makes sense. Let's say my opponent finishes out their turn by playing Polyphemus Toss, moving my opponent's Odysseus back one space. But maybe I don't want to move, so I decide it's okay. I'll simply sacrifice Eurylochus, discarding him off to the side, and that would begin my turn. Given that I am at the space Layer of Scylla, it says draw 2 cards, so I would begin my turn by drawing 2 cards, giving me this hand. I would play full speed ahead to move myself forward 1 space to the island of the sun god, but that also gives me 1 suffering, so I'd move to 10. I'd then play Penelope, which lets me move forward once again. But that 1, 2, 3, 4, gives me 4 suffering. To end my turn, I would then play Cave of Polyphemus to move my opponent's Odysseus back 1 space and search my deck for a Polyphemus card, as well as give me back 1, 2, 3, 4 suffering, setting me up for my next turn and hopefully pushing my Odysseus back. And that concludes the mechanic and rule breakdown of my Odyssey card game. Hopefully it makes as much sense to you as it does to me, but if not, feel free to ask any questions you might have in the comments of this video. I'll try my best to answer them and clear up any confusion. Also, if you're not already following this project, I would appreciate if you would. You can both subscribe here and check out the TikTok that'll be linked in the description of this video and the description of the channel itself. I hope you'll follow as this aims to become something more real, and I hope to see you in a future video. Thank you for your time.